Detroit Lions fans, Detroit Den 313 back with another episode. Before we get going, you know what to do. Bang that subscribe button, man. You guys have been killing it. We're getting close to that 10K. You know what happens when we hit that 10K, man. I think we're about, I don't know, getting close to about 200 away. We hit that 10K, it's going crazy. We gave away dang near almost $1,000 worth of stuff. We gonna touch it, man. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be 1,000, but we gonna hit the around them same numbers again, if not bigger. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. But Steve, to the meat and potatoes of this thing, we got a combine. What the heck we talking about, man?
William, I've never been more excited about a combine than what I saw today. I don't know where to begin. I don't know how to flow for the show that we're going to do today. I don't know where to start, but I'll just say I think that as a Detroit Lions podcast, I think we were winners today. I think I saw a lot of things that are going to help the Detroit Lions. I don't know who the pick's going to be. I can speculate, but what I saw today was me personally. I've got about 6 guys that I need one at least. 2, I'd be ecstatic. This was the big day. This was the defensive line. The defensive tackles, the defensive ends, the linebackers. This was the day that I think we really needed to focus on. I'm not saying that, it's impossible what goes on the rest of the weekend and we can just, the Detroit Lions should just pack up shop and go home by any means. But I think the consensus is defense. So I saw some things today, William, that really, really excited me. Where would you like to begin?
I think you should keep the floor, man, because you're pretty turned up, man. Tell me what excited you the most, man. What's got you going?
I'm not gonna lie, like I think I have a man crush on Ty Robinson. All right. Seeing what he did just kind of validated what I already suspected. Like I already suspected he was gonna be a huge monstrous man. I did not expect the 40 time that he ran. It was like 4.83, I think was his official time, a 4.83 for a guy who's 6'6", a lean 6'6". Came in at 288 pounds and ran a 4.83. I think that's absolutely phenomenal because when I watched his tape, I said, that's a big man. That is a big dude who's making big physical plays. That's a guy who's bullying offensive linemen. I think he went out today and validated his athleticism. I think he validated himself as a potential first-round pick. I think he might have snuck in there. 6'6", 288 pounds, running a 4.8. That doesn't grow in your backyard. I mean, it doesn't happen every day. I'm not going to say he's the greatest defensive tackle to ever come through the combine, but I picture him in a Honolulu blue jersey. I picture him next to Aiden Hutchinson. I picture him in the middle of that defense with Aleem McNeil possibly. And I see him as someone who's just going to manhandle offensive linemen. I'm not in love. I'm still not clinging or hitching my horse to a wagon yet with a player, but he's definitely in my top 5 right now.
So that said, man, I gotta ask the question. Then you said a couple of things, and I was locked in on the things you said, Steve. So you said him potentially sneaking into the first round. The Detroit Lions drafting the back half of the first round. Would you be okay with drafting him at pick 28?
See, that's the problem. That's the problem is I don't know. Right at this point today, Thursday, February 27th, I don't know that he's my number 1 pick at pick 28 because I know that there's going to be some other guys on the board. It's not a matter of how many, it's a matter of who it's going to be because there's some other guys that we're going to talk through this episode that I think might be a better fit. And I think that a lot of them will be available. So I don't know if I love him at pick 28. I don't, but oh man, there's a lot to love about Ty Robinson.
Yeah. I get it, man. I thought he had a day. When you first, I'll give you your flowers, man. You sent them to me. I had already seen them, but you sent them to me and you were excited about them. I was not as excited as you were. And I left today. He definitely perked me up a little bit. I'm not as high as you. I still don't think he slides into the first round. But I think he'll be well early day 2 guy, second round guy. He definitely earned himself some money today, without a doubt. But Steve, man, there's some Michigan boys that didn't work out today that got to get drafted.
That's a thing too.
That board, you know what I mean? So, bottom line is you're gonna see Kenneth Grant's name. You're gonna see Mason Graham's name well before in my opinion. You see Ty's name, and then there's some other guys that are things to say about it too. But definitely had a great day today. Definitely surprised me. I did not see that type of speed in his game when I watched his film. I'm definitely gonna go back and watch that tomorrow and check it out and see and try to understand what I missed, man, because I gotta spank my bottom on that one, man. I didn't see that type of speed. When he went through drills though, he did seem a little bit stiff to me. So maybe that's what I was seeing. He's definitely got the attitude to be a Detroit Lion, though. He's definitely a Dan Campbell, Detroit Lion, tough, gritty, nasty, move you against your will, and then maybe talk to you a little bit, or maybe mean mug, scowl you a little bit afterwards. I think he fit right in, high effort guy, but I just don't know if the stars are going to align for us because I don't know necessarily that he makes it to pick 60, but he's definitely not somebody that I'm picking at pick 28, especially after some of the things that I saw today. Somebody that I'm in love with is going to be there at pick 28. And
This is someone we already talked about.
I'll tell you this, and
on air, because I know we talked to a lot of people off air. Is it someone we talked about on air?
I'm gonna tell you this. There was a gentleman who had some things to say to us. I can't remember exactly who it was, but I screenshotted the receipt because it was in the comments. He had some things to say about Shamar Stewart, and sir, Shamar Stewart looked real good today. He looked real good jumping. He looked real good as a dang near 300-pound man with a 40-inch vertical. You know what I mean? Broad jumping almost 11 feet. You know what I mean? He looked real good moving around, just looking super athletic. Yeah, man. He's a guy that excited me today. I could definitely see the Detroit Lions taking somebody like that. But there's a bunch, man. There's a bunch of guys that looked good, man. I don't even want to go down the list, man, because we'd be here all day. But I just worry about the rest of the combine. What am I gonna do? I don't know. Do I watch it? Do I just feed into watching film one of these guys? Because I'm pretty sure everybody that I want to draft worked out today. I don't know about you. How you feel about it?
Bingo. Yeah, like I said, we can't just pack up shop and head home from Indianapolis. You know, we got to do our due diligence. Mainly Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. Like, it's gonna be a long weekend for them, but for us, like, I could pack up shop if I weren't working for the Lions. I'd be coming home after day, be like, hey, I told you I'm ready to go. Like, I've seen what I need to see. All I wanted to do was see Jihad Campbell run his 40 time. I don't need to see the workouts. I know he's going to nail that. I know about his tape. So I think I have all the information from the combine that I wanted. Thank God it happened on a Thursday and I didn't have to wait all weekend. But I mean, I'm still going to watch. I'm still got some guys that I'm going to check out and see. There's still some other guys I'm interested in just from a fan standpoint of college football and seeing what they do. But for the Detroit Lions, like, this was a phenomenal day. Like, I think that there's some guys out there, and we talked about it. This is a deep defensive line class. We got a firsthand look at that today. I don't think anyone had a bad day. I'll just say that. So I think a lot of guys, I mean, like you said, we could sit here and talk every person that we've had a conversation about, and this would be an 8-hour episode. So we're going to try to trim it down a little bit. So we talked Ty Robinson. He stood out to me. Let me ask you, what's your thoughts on Jihad Campbell? Because he's kind of really leaning into my top group as well. How do you feel about him? I see that look on your face. I know what's coming.
Steve, let me ask you this first. Are we going to do an episode on Jihad Campbell?
Oh, we'll have to. He deserves it. He deserves his own episode. So we will get into it more, but you know, it doesn't mean we can't repeat ourselves.
I'll save it for the episode because I will tell you it's going to be controversial.
You don't want him. You don't want him.
I didn't say that. Let's not get crazy here.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'll try to beat around the bush because I know how your mind works most of the time. Sometimes you throw out some wild shit. I'm just like completely blown away. When we're talking about a linebacker, I know that's not a huge position of need, but if he's best player available and he's got the most athleticism on the board, do you think that that's something that the Detroit Lions should consider?
I think they're already considering it because they had a formal interview with him. So I'm going to say yes because Brad Holmes is smarter than me. So
right. And follow. Oh, if you're go ahead, I have a follow up when you're done.
No, that was it. That was pretty much it.
Where would you play him? What would his role be with the Detroit Lions, Jihad Campbell?
I have him playing football. Man. No, in all seriousness, and I poke fun, but I do mean that in a sense of I love Brad's philosophy. He's drafting football players, and I'm going to play him wherever I need him to play. He's a versatile guy who he can play just off ball linebacker, or he can come up and be that Sam linebacker that who we want to have multiple responsibilities, and we've just been trying to will person after person after person into that position. I think he's somebody that will fit right into that because of his history at playing the defensive end position. I think that he steps into that Sam linebacker position, offers us a little bit of edge rush off of the edge, and I think that Coach KT Rogers will be able to enhance his abilities too from a rush and a defensive lineman perspective. And then he can also offer chasing those running backs, which we had some issues with last year. So I think I would play him at that Sam linebacker position if that's a position that we still haven't seen what Coach Shepard is going to run yet, but that's where I see him in my mind immediately. But also in my mind, I don't know a world where he's the best player left on the board at pick 28, if that's what we're talking about. To me, he's a guy that you trade back up, but kind of like a similar to a Brian Branch situation. You trade up and you go grab him, man, because he's too good to pass on, maybe because he's still on the board round 2. But at pick 28, considering the things I've seen today, I don't know how Jihad Campbell, and this is not disrespecting Jihad Campbell. This is putting respect on everybody who worked out, and what I think about the guys who haven't even had the opportunity to work out, mixing in these quarterbacks, mixing in some of these other offensive players, mixing in some of these linemen. It's only 28 guys that can come off of the board. Somebody is going to be there that I'm in love with. Not saying I'm not in love with Jihad Campbell. I'll say what I got to say about him on our episode.
I'll say I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I don't want to say who my number one is yet because my mind's open to change, but I would say Jihad Campbell's probably 3rd on my list. I would say Ty Robinson's probably 4. I don't have a complete top 5. I'm not ready to hitch my wagon yet, but he interests me. I think you got to find a way to get him on a football field. And hats off to Will. Last year, you introduced us. And I think you were the first one to mention Edgerrin Cooper last year. I think when I look at Jihad Campbell, I think a slightly better version of Edgerrin Cooper. Not by much. We're talking a small scale. And I don't want to say this as like he's the hot thing right now, because I know how much we both like Edgerrin Cooper, but I do see Jihad Campbell as possibly being better. So that's what really, really interests me is we were really willing to take him last year at pick. What would we have? 29. He was our sprint to the podium guy last year. He fell to the 2nd round. So I'm curious to see if Jihad Campbell's kind of the same, like you said, maybe if this is a trade back draft. And we had a conversation yesterday after we got done recording that I thought was really worthy of probably recording. And I wish we could just duplicate that exact conversation, but that can't be done. But we were just talking about combinations of these guys that were just brought in yesterday for interviews. And this is a small list. Any combination of 2 to 3 players on that list. And I think we were all mostly happy with them. There were some guys that were probably, 4th, 5th rounders that they were bringing in, maybe 3rd rounders that they were bringing in as like a formality, I guess, for lack of a better word. But we were just going through like, man, if we get this guy, can we get this? Like, it was a great conversation, and maybe we can dive back into that later. But if we're in that trade back scenario and Jihad Campbell's there, that's a home run. That's a home run in like probably the late 30s, early 40s, if we can make a move to come up and get him.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he's a 1st rounder.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either, man. Somebody could easily fall in love with him. His frame alone, too, man. Not only the fact of how well he plays linebacker and how well he covers. I don't know about the Edgerrin Cooper thing, and I agree with you as far as like they're definitely in the same conversations. I just think they're different. So it's like it's a matter of what you like and what you need. Because I think that Jihad Campbell covers people better than Edgerrin Cooper. Like it's without a doubt. But Edgerrin Cooper downhill as a missile. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And I think he might be a little bit more advanced. Just blitzing, man. Edgerrin Cooper blitzing. He was just nasty, man. He could almost have been a rusher the way that he blitzed. So I don't know, man. Both good freaking football players. I do have some things on Jihad Campbell that we'll talk about when we do the episode. But can I tell you somebody who slid to me today a little bit?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I won't say that he had a bad day. I won't say that. I think some of the good days that people had around him made him slide a little bit more, and I was really anticipating him being out there. Princely, man, and I'm not even going to try his name, but his last name, but Princely, he wasn't as smooth and as athletic as some of the other guys. Now, is he going to be drafted early? Nah. By early, I mean probably day 2 early, for sure. But I thought today he could potentially get himself into the day 1 conversation. I didn't see that, man. There was an abundance of people that I liked more than Princely today. So I think he slid a little bit today. We talked about it, that combine shuffle of guys who could concrete themselves to maybe sneaking into the first round or higher in the first round, and guys that could slide. He probably slid into day 2 for me. But how'd you feel? What'd you see?
I think he's kind of just where he didn't move up or down. I think he just kind of, for me personally, just validated where I think he's going to be somewhere in that. Maybe he could have been from like pick 25 to pick 40. Maybe now he's from like pick 30 to 44 or something like that. Like I just kind of put him in a range of where, like, I wouldn't be shocked if a team really liked him and, needed an edge rusher, like maybe the Philadelphia Eagles or the Kansas City Chiefs at the end of the first round. But I wasn't really surprised with what he did. I don't think he had a bad day either, but I think this draft class is just so loaded that maybe someone had to have a bad day. I don't know. I don't know. You know X's and O's better than I do and stuff like that. So I trust what you say, but I wasn't really surprised. I think he kind of stayed neutral for me, if anything. I don't think he went up or down.
Yeah. Can I
Who
tell
did
you
who
somebody?
did you love, Will? I like you got that grin on that sweet little baby face. Like, I know there's a guy out there. We've already had a talk. Just let it out.
Steve. Steve. This is one of those. Listen, number one, I forgot. I meant to publicly do this earlier. I gave you a public apology. Not a public. I gave you over the phone apology earlier on this Ty Robinson thing because I didn't. I didn't think that he was going to be this athletic, and I just didn't. I didn't think he was going to be this athletic. Now I will say he did hit the combine with the old combine okey doke where he lost 20 pounds to go
Yeah,
combine,
I told you that on
shuffle
the
in his
phone.
pajamas, but he still did his thing. I'm not taking anything away from it, so I give you your flowers on that. But I'm also going to give you your flowers on somebody who I am absolutely in love with. Now I did like him. I liked him already, but I wasn't in love. I am in love with Donovan Ezeiruaku. Steve, he's a dog. And mark my words. Mark my words. This dude, long as he stays healthy, knock on wood, long as he stays healthy, this dude is going to go have a productive career in the NFL. He does all of the things. Now, did he run a 4.5 or a 4.4? No, he didn't. I think he ran a 4.7 though. Just a quiet 4.7, no big deal. Every single drill, he just looks smooth, man. Just smooth, just easy, just taking care of business. And then had the audacity in the crossover drill to just catch the ball smooth with his hands and just look like a pure athlete. This is a guy from a technique standpoint, polished, looks real nice. This is a guy who moves around, is just agile, just athletically gifted, no problems, no issues. He wasn't a guy that you were seeing slipping and falling on the ground. No, feet always under his hips. Just looked like a linebacker to me. This isn't an edge. Is this a linebacker? He looked like a guy, man. I had a second round grade on him. I thought he was going to go in the second round. Steve, I think that he's going to go day 1.
Pick 28, Detroit Lions sprinting to the podium.
Listen, I'm not going to say sprint, and I will say I think there's some guys that I really love a little bit more because of just super crazy freak athletic ability. But if they drafted him, I'd say, all right, let's go. I wouldn't be like, oh man, what are we doing? I'd be like, okay.
He'd be our number 3 pass rusher, maybe number 2 for a little bit until Ali McNeil comes back.
And you can just do things with him. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this dude goes to the NFL and takes linebacker reps. Like he doesn't have to just be an edge. Like the possibilities are literally endless. If you're talking just football player, listen, this is one of those situations where on the final drill, I said, God, listen, I know you're up there listening.
Were your hands
Please.
crossed? Were they interlocked, or were they just?
I was here. I had my hands in my lap and I was here. I'm not even joking around. I said, God, please listen. I was talking about this thing with Steve yesterday about just let me get 3 of these dudes. Please let this dude slide to the second round. Please
Not a chance. Not a chance now.
Let this be a Brian Branch situation where we're just all wondering why this dude is still available, and then let Brad just trade up and go get him. And then as I'm looking through this list, then let me go get somebody else. You know what I mean? Depending on what we drafted in the first round, was it, a Kenneth Grant, maybe, what was it? My man from Oregon, what was it? Harmon. He had a pretty good day.
Jordan Birch, I thought he had an okay day too.
Jordan Birch.
I'm telling you, a lot of dudes. Like we could literally have a 9-hour episode tonight. We literally could.
Yeah. Jordan Birch is another one. When I say 3 of these guys, does Jordan Birch slide? And then next thing you know, he's the third guy that we're picking up. Man, it's Josiah Stewart. Is he the third? I mean, it's just I just said, Lord, listen, let Donovan slide to the second round. Let's grab him. And then one of these guys that we just talking about, somebody put it in the comments, man. Hey, love the show and our prospect show. A couple of episodes ago, love the show, but it seems like you guys were talking about a lot of guys that were at pick probably 60 and beyond. We were.
Yeah, there was a reason for that.
Yeah, there was a reason. We're not. Everybody knows, man, that Abdul Carter's good. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows Mason Graham's good. Like, we don't want to just keep hammering you guys with top 10, top 15 dudes. Like we want to talk about the dudes that potentially could be there at pick 60, that we're going to complement whatever we do at pick 28, and then maybe who we're going to get next, man, or trade back up into the second round or earlier in the third to do, man. So that was by design that we were doing that. And I'm really seeing a path to get 3 good guys. The only thing that worries me, and it makes me feel a little bit of pressure, to get 3 of these guys now, is that there's so many of them. Other teams are going to be enhancing their team as well with 2 or 3 really good guys. This is a deep draft. I don't feel like it's a draft to where it's deep with a bunch of TJ Watts, or anything like that. But I feel like it's deep with starters in the NFL.
Impact.
There's a lot of guys. Yeah, there's a lot of guys. Landon Jackson is going to go somewhere and start.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know how this popped in my head. 2 things popped in my head when I just saw Landon Jackson. I knew what he looked like, but just seeing him today, if you took Josh Dobbs and Charlie Villanueva,
I know
the former basketball player, and they had a baby, his name would be Landon Jackson.
Yeah, facts.
And then as I'm watching, I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to be a mean or an asshole or anything, but he kind of just looks like a player that you created on NBA 2K, just didn't really want to go through the settings of really putting facial hair or any features on it.
Yeah, this is where we started.
Bare minimum.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with this, man. I'm gonna run with this, man.
Just get me on the court.
Yeah, just make me a 99 overall. Let me ball, man. Yeah, for sure. That's dead on. He excited me too, man. But I got a list, man. I got a list of guys, man, that really excited me. But patting you on the back again, man. I got 3 stars by my man on my list right here, Donovan Ezeiruaku, man. He's somebody that I feel like I'm hoping that people kind of overlook. They fall in love with these guys jumping these 40-inch verticals and running these 4.5s and 4.4s, and he slides down, because we got, again, people hammer me every time I say it, but we got the best GM in football. And I know they want to talk about that Philadelphia Eagles GM and say he's the best GM in football, but hey, listen, our GM inherited a dumpster fire. Our GM inherited 0-16. What are we talking about?
Yeah, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl 8 years ago. So, I mean, it's not the same.
Yeah, so when I'm talking about best GM in football, I know he doesn't have the resume of Super Bowl wins and, all of that other stuff, but, man, he did not inherit a great situation, and he sure has turned it around fairly quick. So, Definitely to me, man, best GM in football. I'm glad we have him. And I think he'll do the right things, man. He's about to get. He might surprise us, man, because it seems like to me every time I'm asking for something and I'm begging for something that isn't named edge rusher that should be getting paid $50 million, he delivers better than I even could ever imagine. I wanted to get in a situation where I no longer had Quantez Cephas as the best receiver in Detroit. And then next thing you know, we got a nasty receiving core, man. I wanted to get into a situation to where, and I know we still ended up with Kendall Vildor out there, but I wanted to get a better secondary. And then we started last season with secondary not being an issue, man. And it went from not an issue to really something that I was very happy with until the guys started getting banged up, man. So Brad, we're asking you again. I think Steve and I are on the same page. Make this pass rush great, man. Please over deliver.
Yeah, I mean, 2 or 3 guys really just changes the landscape of your defense. If you just get one more above average pass rusher with Aiden Hutchinson coming back, he's going to be a man on a mission. Ali McNeil, when he comes back from his injury, he's going to be solid. Derek Barnes, we'll see what happens with him. The only concern I really have about the draft is free agency and who we lose plus who we need to sign in free agency. Could throw a wrinkle in things, but it'll be a good wrinkle. We'll just have to see how it unfolds. But when I was watching Donovan Ezeiruaku real quick, I was just telling you, I said, Will, don't let this guy be athletic. Just don't. Because I didn't see over athleticism in his tape, but I saw it today. And I said, this dude he has not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. He's got a handful of pass rush moves. And we talked about him before. I wish I could remember exactly which episode it was. I would tag it at the end of this one. But we'll try to just do another spotlight on him later on down the road. But I told you, don't let this dude go out and be athletic. Don't let him go out there and just run like a something average. Don't let him just go out there and just have a good day, because he'll be a first round pick. And he produced at Boston College, right? They're not a defensive powerhouse, but every now and then they put a guy in the draft, who's high end and can play some football. So I've definitely got my eyes open. I can't commit yet, but if he's the pick at pick 28, and I say thoughts and prayers, because we got Aiden Hutchinson, Zadarius Smith, who still I think is very under the radar. Now you add in a young Donovan Ezeiruaku. Like, what are we talking about? We're talking about 4 really, really good pass rushers and maybe more to come in rounds 2 and 3. Will's freezing up on me. I don't know if we lost him. I don't know if his internet went out. But, guys, we're going to be diving into this episode and these topics a lot more. Today was a big day for the Detroit Lions. Stick around, hit that like button. We'll be back later with another show.